Hello, we're back. This is Phil, Discover Tai Chi, and here we are again. Let's get started. It's been rather hot and humid over the past few days. It's getting a bit cooler, but I thought we'd have a little theme. So I'm going to take you beside a lake. So let's start off nice and easy, shall we? So we're going to lift up the hands into Chisha, and we're just going to settle down with each lower of the hands. Turn the volume knob down, so to speak, and kind of just create some breathing space. But if you can picture yourself beside a very serene lakeside setting, if you can conjure that to mind, I'm going to make reference to it throughout the session as if we are beside a calm lake. Okay. Here we open out the hands, opening and then closing and down. If that feels like a big in-breath for you, then feel free to do so. But again, all the while we're kind of picturing the sights and the sounds and the sensations of that landscape. Excellent. So I know my hands are going to disappear overhead at this point, but let's take our hands up, overhead, and then they come down to the sides. Could be a breath in. And if you are joining us later, watching the video, and you're seated, and again, you could have that sense of being seated beside the lakeside and enjoying that calm, serene landscape that lies before you. As we just start these opening movements, all of them symmetrical. Good job. Okay, let's have a little swing of the arms, maybe a little walk on the spot if you can. If you sat down, maybe just moving from one hip to the other, and just, it's almost as if we're taking a little perambulation, is a good word, around our lake. And we might find another spot, and then we'll do some more movements. Okay. In fact, we found a little boat. So let's step onto our boat, get maybe a wider stance if we can. If you sat down, you can do this. First of all, we're just going to test the balance of our boat by shifting our weight from side to side. Just get a feel for how far you can tip that boat. And then we're going to center our boat. We're going to pick up a bow and arrow. We're going to lift it up. Just go overhead. And then I'm looking to my left, dropping the left arm. And now I'm going to tip my boat. And then I'm going to release the arrow. And my right arm goes out to balance. And then I recenter. Drop both hands down. Pick them back up. And this time, looking to my right, tipping to the left, dropping that right hand, releasing our imaginary arrow, and then slowly, slowly recentering. Pick the hands up. Here we go. Tipping to the right, looking to the left. We're going to release that arrow, off it flies, and we don't even see where it lands. It flies off into the horizon. Here we go again. tipping to the left, looking to the right, and then releasing that arrow. It's quite a challenging movement. We've got to do this balancing act of moving in the opposite direction in which we look and release our imaginary arrow. Last one. Here we go. Looking to the right, tipping to the left. Let the arrow fly. And then relax. Just bring those feet in. We'll stay on our boat for a little while longer. So once you've got your balance nice and steady, we're going to hold a ball. Let's have left hands on top. So if you need to do a quick swap, left hand on top. And we're going to take that ball across to the left, turn it over, and then bring it across to the right. And we begin to tip our boat a little bit at the same time. Again, whether we're seated or standing, we're just gently tipping the boat as we carry that ball from one side to the other, turning it over. It's a little meditation in balance and poise and posture as we gently go from one side and then to the other. All the while, we're carrying this ball and turning it over. We're going to come back to the center. Let that ball melt away. And we'll let that boat kind of drift off and we continue our easy little walk around the lakeside until we find another spot. Okay, this one looks good. Again, you might have different scenes in mind as we find our respective spots. Okay, so this time we're going to do wave hands in clouds, but this time on dry land, although we might be at the water's edge. Let's have our left hand on top again, right hand underneath, and we're just going to do a little turn to the left, exchange hands, and then to the right. And again, we've got some weight shift, we've got some rotation, and we've got a turn of the head to lead the movement. And we're going nice and easy as we do so. Lovely. Do one more side. Don't worry if we've ended up out of sync. Come back. And then, once again, bring those feet in. And we'll continue on our way, having a little walk around the lakeside. Fab. Okay. So it's evening, so let's kind of imagine that maybe, even though it's still rather bright, we can begin to see a full moon rising over the horizon. I'm not sure whether you've got mountains in your view or not, but let's have a moon starting to appear and rise. So let's do Stork Pays Homage to the Moon. So this involves lifting the hands. Again, they may just disappear out of frame, but we bring them together and then we bring the hands down. Elbows get to point out and we just have a little pause at this point and then relax down. And then once again, lift the hands. It could be a lovely breath in. Bring the hands together, slowly come down. Don't press the palms if they don't naturally kind of go flat. Just do what you can with your hands. And we're just breathing in the scene. So we've done this before. We can bring our feet together. That might mean that we get them almost touching or touching completely along the big toe edge. That does challenge balance, so if you need to have a bit of a gap, that's okay as well. Let's see how I do with them touching. Same movement, but again, because of that closer stance, we've got a much smaller base of support, and that means that we're working just a bit more as a consequence. So just be mindful of that. Again, it could be a breath in. And we'll make this our last little movement in this set. There we go. And continue on our little walk. Even if we're sat down, we could be moving our weight from hip to hip. In fact, that's a good cue for me to sit down, join people who are seated. And we could do with some rotation, couldn't we? So nothing like wise owl to get us started. So turning to our right, gentle lift of the hands, and then back to the center, and then to the left. There we go again, to the right, and it could be a breath in if that feels good for you to do that breath with the movement. You can add it in. That's it. To the right. Okay, so let's progress this by gesturing in the same direction. Both hands on the same side. You won't worry if we're in sync, just add that extra element in of bringing both hands on each side. Lovely. Make that your last one. Come back and carry on with our perambulation. I will do my imaginary perambulation sat down, but shifting a bit of weight and letting my hands swing and just moving very comfortably. Okay, let's do yellow dragon, clawing, or sometimes it's called yellow dragon, reaching out across the sea. If we're sat down, maybe try a bit of a wider stance. If you're stood up and you can do so, bit of a wider stance. This involves this hinge of the hips, so it's a bit of a lean forward. So again, just be mindful of your balance. Don't go too far. We sweep the hands in and up, roll them forward, and then we're pushing forwards. I'm pushing forwards, pushing my hands, extending the fingers, and then I draw them back and bring myself back upright. If I turn to the side as the hands come in, you can see that I bring my hands up the front of the body, roll them over, and then I'm leaning forward to push. So only go as far, extend the fingers as far as you can, and then bring them back low to then rise and push again. Set, extend the fingers, and then slowly bring things back. So it's a bit of a stretch for our backs and spines. Push. Set. Gonna do one more because it's quite a challenging movement. And back. Good job. Excellent work. Okay. Once again, a little continuation of our walk as we go, or weight shift if we're sat down. And the moon is now rising even higher, so that lends itself nicely to gazing at the moon. Excuse me, I've got a little cough coming. Thank you. So let's go to the right. Again, think of this as a spiral, spiraling up, and we're looking up, gesturing upwards, dropping the hands up to the left, and then back down again in big sweeps. Good job. And just be mindful of your balance. I'm going to do one more on each side. Again, not worrying if we're in sync. Make this your last one. And come back. Okay. Let's stand back up again. Let's move my box out of the way. Okay. So let's have another hinge of our hips from 8 strands of brocade. We're going to be lifting our box overhead and then bringing the hands down and letting the hands travel down the legs as we have a hinge of the hips forward. So here we go. Pick our box up. Once again, my hands might just disappear, but they're coming on top of the box as we go high. Bring them down. And then we begin to get the hands into place on the backs of the thighs. And then it's all about just unlocking the knees if you can. Maybe not for some people. And just taking a hinge, letting the hands travel down the legs and then back up the fronts as we come back upright. I'm going to take my glasses off, otherwise we're going to fall off. And here we go again, lifting our box. Up we go. Push down. Hands onto the backs of the legs. And then we can take the hands down. Bring them around. And then we come back up slowly but surely. Once again, lifting, thinking tall as we do so. And then, once again, beginning to hinge at the hips. Down we go. Maybe some of you even reach your feet. But there's no prizes for being bendier than someone else. One more time. Up we go. Once again, walking around our lake. In fact, we could almost imagine that we've done a complete circuit. I know it would have taken a lot longer, but that's the great thing of using our imaginations, is that we can imagine that we're almost completing a full circuit. So let's keep with this serene setting and let's do our gather celestial energy and gather Earth's energy movements. So again, see if you can picture yourself beside the lakeside. We've got stars appearing now as we bring the hands up, and then we begin to lift the hands up, looking overhead, and then slowly bringing some stars back down to Earth. We gather our stars, and then we let them go. And as we do so, we lift the hands to the sides. We're going to take our blanket, the blanket of the Earth, and enfold ourselves in that blanket. Could be a breath in and then a breath out as we let the blanket go. So let's do that 2 more times. Hands rising up to the sky. Bring some stars down to Earth. Gather those stars, hold them for a moment, let them go. Lift the hands. Take our blanket and wrap ourselves. And then let the blanket fall away. Here we go again. Bring some stars down to Earth. Gather those stars. Final time. Gather that Earth. Wrap yourself in that blanket. And then for the last time, we let it go. And then our final little walk. And let's imagine that we do end up back where we started. So we've gone full circle, so to speak, on our little journey around our lake. So we've got lots of different views and perspectives in mind. So we're going to return to the movements that we started with, only we're going to reverse them. So we're going to start off by picking the hands up with this bigger, larger Qi movement. Big circles, lifting the backs of the hands up, overhead or as far as you can do so comfortably, and then bringing the hands down. And if you feel like a big breath in fits nicely with this lift, then you can put one in and then let the breath go on the down. Okay, this time opening heart. So now just a little bit smaller as we open the hands. Close and then lower. Again, if it feels right for you, it could be a breath in with that opening and the breath out on the closing. One more. And then finally, we return to our familiar Qi movement of just gentle lifts and rises of the hands and arms, and this sense of settling into place, into the landscape. Again, it could have a breath with the movement if that feels right for you. And on this last one, we're going to bring the hands together, link the thumbs, let everything come to rest on the lower abdomen. Get yourself comfortable and stable. So picture that scene. We've got our lakeside. Everything's gone absolutely calm now. We've got a perfect reflection. We've got moon and stars, and it all looks rather lovely. So just breathe that scene in for a few seconds. We don't need to spend too much time, but just kind of picture the scene. You could rest your eyes if that helps, and just imagine yourself beside the lakeside. And when you're ready, part the hands. That's our indication that we've come quite literally full circle back to where we started. But we've been on a bit of a journey as well. I hope that's been a rather nice way of doing the session today, this kind of imaginary journey. And we've kind of kept things rather cool and calm beside a lake, especially given that it's been rather hot and humid. Certainly has been where we are. Right, I'm going to wish you all the best. I'm going to stop the recording. Next week is election night. So I plan to be here because, like some people, I've done a postal vote, but I might do a little poll on WhatsApp just to see if we are going to have people joining us, or if you are going to be pinned to the telly watching what goes on an election night, or doing your visits to polling stations. But either way, we'll figure something out one way or another. So let me bring the recording to a close. I'm going to wish everyone a good evening.